and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching another episode of Conquer with Chris podcast, or listen, depending on what platform you're on. Today, I have a very special guest, Valerie Lewis. Great marketer, great businesswoman. Can't wait to get in her story. Welcome aboard, Valerie.
Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for having me.
After 6 long years of trying to get you on a podcast, I might not have ever had Valerie Lewis on the podcast. The reason why is she's getting ready to get married and her name's going to change.
Yep, it's coming.
So I'm just grateful for the opportunity to have her on. This I want to say young lady, this woman has overcome so much, and she's become a great marketer. I've watched her from afar. And so we're going to listen to her story here in a little bit. But Val, why don't you tell everyone how you got in and got started, and your process to where you have beginning, so to speak, process to how you began.
Absolutely. So the beginning, where do I even begin? So I had made a decision that I wanted to be able to spend more time at home with my children. I had recently started homeschooling them, and what I was doing before, I just could not continue to do for various reasons. And so, I had a friend tell me all about starting a business from home and being able to earn online. And I was like, really? Let's check that out. And I thought it was going to be a piece of cake. I have owned a business before. It ran smoothly. So I figured, what's the difference? Well, there was a big difference. So my first year of trying to build an online business that was, a little different than what I had done before. I owned my own salon, very small, very quaint, very humble little salon setting, but trying to translate over into the online space, and how do I share my skills, and how do I build from there, was more difficult than I thought. It was a little bit more complicated than I thought. So my first year I struggled a lot. I made no money at all online. So I had lived that first year off of my savings that I had built up, completely blew through that. And so by the end of the first year, I was like, I got to figure out something, because if I don't, I'm going to have to go back. And that made me cringe, because I was like, I am in business to build freedom, right? And freedom's supposed to be able to create more options, not less. And so I kept looking, I kept searching, and finally I came across some solutions and some people who were able to help me get on track. And that's when things really started to take off for me. So that was about 5 years ago. And now here I am, and just crushing it. And I love it.
I think I've known you all 5 years. I think
Yes, you have.
there's
Yeah.
you and one other person I've kept really close tabs on. He's no longer with the system that you tend to operate in, but he's doing real well for himself.
Awesome.
So you what would you say to the person who's just starting out today? Can they still do it? Can what obstacles should they have on their roadmap? Right, that since you've been there and done that, one is it's doable still today, and what obstacles should they? And I want to be careful how I say this, because I don't think we should be like ghost hunting, like everything's like some people think everything's a demon. There's a demon that. No, no, no. But you should be aware that there are obstacles out there.
Yeah.
So what would those things be? And then the first question, of course, is it still doable?
Absolutely. So yeah, it is totally still doable. I think now more than ever is a wonderful time to get started. With everything that's been going on with recent events. I mean, no matter how you're feeling about it, it's a great opportunity to be able to get started creating a different path, and that's one of the things that I love so much about having my own business online, is that I don't have to do the traditional thing, the thing that we've all been doing for like 100 years or more. I can now think outside the box. I can utilize technology for either good or evil. right? I choose to use it for good. I choose to use it to enhance my life and enhance the lives of people that I encounter, right? And so, with everything, pandemic and, social issues, whatever, these are the times that you can, look around in the world and say, you know what, there is plenty here for me to draw from and be able to create the life that I want. So why not? In terms of what to look out for, here's the biggest lesson I learned. Mindset. Mindset is key in everything that you do. And I don't know why, but for some reason, building my business, I didn't think that was a factor. I'm like, just show me the money. I just want to know, where's the money? What are the steps to the money? Give me the yellow brick road to the Emerald City called money. And it turns out that, sure enough, it's just like that classic movie, that classic book and movie, that you have it within all along. And that's why you got to start there. You have to start with the mindset, because it doesn't matter how many skills you're taught, how many trainings you attend, how many courses and books you buy. None of that stuff is going to be very effective in your life if you don't believe it's going to work for you, if you don't believe that you have some self-worth, that you're on this planet at a particular time around certain people at a certain time for a certain reason. If you don't believe that there's something deeper to all of this than just let's exchange goods for money, then you will find yourself struggling quite a bit.
Wow. Wow. That's great. That's great. That's the main reason I started this podcast, believe it or not, so we could get people like you who've been through a struggle and figure out that mindset or whatever, everyone deals with something different, right? Some people it's mindset, and usually it always deals with mindset, but it's mindset around I'm worthy, mindset around being consistent, being persistent, being whatever the case may be, learning how to pivot. Because, we've all had to pivot,
Oh, yes.
even with the pandemic, like major events that we would go to,
Yeah.
it ain't happening normally, it's happening online or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why I created this podcast, because, the Bible says that the word that you overcome by the word of your testimony. That's part of that scripture. The other one's the blood of the lamb. But the word of your testimony, well, it says our testimony. It doesn't say yours. It says our. So I can learn something from what you've been through.
Mhm.
And that helps my mindset. And I'm hoping that we find the keys to unlock people's mindset, right? So they can grow and they can become the people they need to be. So along your path, what you said some of the things that mindset was a big deal. So how would you because so what are your particular things you do for your business that cause you to be successful? Or like, for example, I'm a podcaster. I've chose that as my platform. Yeah, I do Facebook and YouTube and all that other stuff, but podcasting is mainly the way I'm going, because it's a different way to grow an audience. So what are your ways to grow your audience?
Well, I have found that if you stick with your strengths, you'll do really well where you are. So for me, I've always been in front of the camera, always, always, always. And so I'm very comfortable with it. And so I've focused on video marketing, mainly through Facebook, recently starting to, pour over into YouTube. Um, but yeah, that's been my main focus, is sharing some value with people as much as possible every day and being consistent with that. um, and then also, providing certain solutions for them as we're having those conversations in those live streams.
Gotcha. That's great. So you said that video marketing is your platform specifically. I know this to be fact. Facebook Lives
Oh yeah.
primarily, and then now you're crossing over YouTube.
Mhm.
Um, you wait, hold on to your seat. When you get YouTube going, it's gonna be nice. I know that. I know
Yeah.
that because that's my podcast second home, because you do
Oh,
the audio and the video, and it's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to seeing more of you on. I just like your stuff. You're always positive. You're always upbeat. Some people get on and they're just hard to watch.
mhm.
You're upbeat, and it's easy to digest whatever you're saying, even the rough stuff, right? So And when I say rough stuff, people, I'm talking about sometimes she deals with stuff. Sometimes something just has to be addressed. And so when you're dealing with people in different places and different ideologies, and just be honest, is no matter what you're going through, there's always a difference. There's always people who have different processes of dealing with things, even in marketing. And so you have to address those things. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. But once you get out of your uncomfortableness or your comfort zone, you start to achieve. So all along, now, didn't you just recently get Member of the Month?
Yeah, that wasn't too long ago. Yeah, that was pretty recent. I got Member of the Month. Yeah.
I
So
thought it was like December. Was it
no,
December?
no, it was a little bit further back than that, but
Oh,
yeah, it was pretty recent though. Yeah.
well, so that means she's moving in an upwardly fashion. It's not like she's falling off. So what are your plans going forward? What are some of the things you're working on now?
Oh goodness. Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I am working on a series of workshops for online entrepreneurs so that they can, have a clear path on exactly what to do. And I love doing workshops with people because it's interactive, it's hands-on. So even though we might not be able to see each other in person, I try to get as close to it as I can and be able to provide them with being empowered to get out here and do the things that need to get done in order for them to grow their business. And it turns out, it's not as difficult and complicated as many people think that it is. And the simpler you keep it, the easier it is to stay consistent with what you do and get the results you want.
Yeah, I agree with that. We as humans have tend to complicate the things.
Oh,
If you keep it, look at folks, keep it. Go to no, go to Staples, get that easy button, and
mm,
keep things easy. Trust me. The more you complicate it, the harder it becomes. I promise you, you're going to try to make it hard. Keep it easy.
yep.
Look, I know you want to be Gary V and be on 60 platforms at one time. Try two at first. Try one. Get used. I mean, here Valerie is a great example. She's been on Facebook forever. Last 5 years, consistent, persistent, day in, day out. And guess what? She's doing well. Well, I'll let her say how
Yeah.
well she's doing.
Chris, I actually, I'm going to share that, but I really wanted to touch on what you were saying in terms of like being consistent. One of the things that helps me with that is my faith, right? And it's being faithful. And one thing that we have to remember, especially if you're just getting started, right? This is another thing to look out for, is the fact that you're not going to be able to see the whole path ahead of you. You're not. And sometimes you have to take that step, even though it feels a little dark, it feels a little uncomfortable. Take the step knowing that you will succeed. Like it just has to be you have to believe that. Just believe it. You don't necessarily have to figure out the whole how right now. Just start with one step at a time, right? And so, for me, it's that, and it's also this, because a lot of folks think that if I don't have a lot of money to get started, I can't get started. If I can't invest in myself with, thousands of dollars and getting the coaching and getting this, getting that, then I can't, I'm not going to be successful. And that's not true either. The one thing to remember is that it's not so much the resource of money that's the super important thing, because you can get money. You get money. Believe it or not, it is abundant, right? The more important thing to focus on is your level of resourcefulness, right? This was a big lesson that I had to learn at a time that I was put in a very uncomfortable spot when I said I wanted to go next level, and I had a mentor challenge me on that, right? I had to figure out ways to get resourceful. And some of those ways required me to be faithful, full of faith, full of knowing that although I don't see the outcome right now, I have to believe that it's going to work out in my favor. I just have to. I have to believe that there are things happening that I can't see right now, people shifting, events shifting, things going on that are all coming together to work out for me, and so that I can have that ideal result that I want. So that's super important to remember. Don't focus on the amount of resources that you have right now. Focus on how you can get resourceful, because that's always going to be huge. And then in terms of like, what I did to get to where I am now, that has a great deal to do with it. You know, I found it easier for me to be uh to be consistent with what I do. In the very beginning, I gotta say, it was scary. It was so scary. I had somebody challenge me yet again and say, Val, you told me you don't have any customers. You told me you don't have an audience. So guess what that means you need to do? Build it up. And I said, wait, what? You want me to do what? But look around, look at all these people out here. You've got this leader and that leader, and they've got, hundreds of people following them, thousands of people. I've got nothing. Don't you understand? This is why I can't win. And they said, no, don't you understand? This is how they did win. You have to start somewhere. Everybody does. So even if you're starting at zero, like me, crickets, you can still build up that cash flow. You can still get yourself to a point where you're going to win. And so I had to figure out a means by which I was going to grow my audience. And again, I picked a strength. I love to talk, as you can probably tell by now. And and I love the camera. It makes me feel like I'm there with you and we're hanging out, and it just really feels good to be able to connect with other human beings on that level, right? And so at first it was scary doing my Facebook lives, right? That first week was just, oh, I thought I messed up. I didn't say it right. I didn't do it right, whatever. But I kept going, again, with the faithfulness, with knowing that if I keep going, right, I got to get better. And sure enough, more people started to watch me day after day, week after week. By the end of my first month doing Facebook Lives every day, I had some sales coming in and some signups into my business and all that great stuff. And as I continued to do it, right, I rode on that momentum, right? So as I kept going, it kept growing. And that's how it worked out for me.
And there's one of what I like to call the mic drop right there. Let me touch on that, and you can expound after I'm done. It's this. It's there's people watching you that you don't know that are watching you. Yeah. There's always somebody. It shows up on their timeline or a Facebook page, and they scroll past it, but they see you're there. They see you're there. They might not listen to you this time or the next time, but about the fourth or fifth time, you're building up that know, like, and trust factor. So then you can build, engage, and sell, right? So at the end of the day is they may not even watch you the first time. They're definitely not going to buy from you if they don't see you.
Right.
Well, what's the old saying? You hit zero the balls you swing at.
Oh yeah.
You hit zero shots that you try to take.
Right.
If you take zero shots, you hit zero.
Right. You're guaranteed.
Right. The thing is this what Valerie was saying is she kept shooting and there's no such thing as a big shot except a little shot that kept on shooting. That's a big shot. She kept shooting, and she was honing her skill all the time. Now there's hundreds of people following her, thousands, and she's making money while she's at home, while you still have to go to work. So I want to challenge you, if you're listening or watching this podcast, that you find what your thing is. It might be Pinterest. It might be YouTube. It might be podcasting. It might be Facebook. Whatever it is you find, start to do something. Because if you're not doing anything, you may have what I call AP, analysis paralysis. You're always learning. That was me. I always wanted to learn and I always want to know how to do it and when to do it and what's the best time. Best time's right now. And the only catch is the one that you're sitting on. Please get up and do something. Anything you want to add to that, Val?
Oh man. That's really good. And yeah, I want you to give yourself permission to enjoy the journey. Allow yourself to enjoy this. If you mess up, so what? Right? Get up, try it again. Be almost childlike about this when you're starting to build and you're first getting going, because you've seen children, right? They don't know they could hurt themselves. They just out for the adventure. Right? As a kid, I was such a tomboy. I would climb that tree and jump out of it with no concept of, hey, you could break your leg. I would ride that bike and wobble a little bit, but eventually, if I kept getting back on, I got good, right? I kept getting better and better and better, and enjoying that whole process, right? Enjoying being a little wobbly and how silly that felt, and those kinds of things. If we do more of that, if we give ourselves permission to do that, oh my goodness, you will not only be able to make it feel like you get to your destination faster, but there will be more moments in between that you can really cherish it and appreciate it and have some gratitude for it, because the more energy of gratitude that you put out there, the more things you're given to be grateful for, so yeah, give yourself permission to enjoy yourself.
Our good friend Steve Krivda said this. He said, you got to become addicted to the process. You don't care about the outcome. Just get addicted to the process. And
Yes.
there's so much truth to that, because like when the process ends, you're almost like, oh gosh, I want my process back. Now you're getting processed a different way. I promise you, there's another process around the corner. Get addicted to the process,
Yeah.
and then get addicted to the next process.
I was just gonna say.
It's gonna
And
change.
brother, I love Steve Krivda. Oh my gosh.
That's 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 my man
Love
right
him.
there.
And so true. That's something else, because this is a constant journey. You set a goal, and you go on that journey, you go through that process to hit that goal, right? To work through the self-limiting beliefs, to dig deep and unroot those beliefs that simply do not serve you, to learn a new belief and replace that old one, to take the action steps daily, right? The practical ones, the income producing activities, the life affirming and life enhancing activities that you're going to serve other people with. When you start doing those things and you hit that goal, guess what? Well, now it's time for the next goal and the next level, and there are processes to work through within that as well, right? And so you're constantly learning and growing. So if you start now adopting the belief and the excitement of enjoying that journey, oh my goodness, your whole life, it's a life transformation. And I had no idea, starting this business building journey, I did not know that it was going to completely transform my life in so many positive ways. Like I can't stop smiling.
Well, I'm thinking about, you used the Wizard of Oz from
Mhm.
earlier. Could you imagine Dorothy being like, "Oh, I've gone down this road. It doesn't really work. You know what? Just send me back." She didn't have a choice, because
Mhm.
she couldn't, like, her bridge was burnt for her. Like, she had to go forward to go
Yeah.
home, right? So many of us, we have too many things in our background that we can run to. And one of the things I thought about while you were speaking is, sometimes the goal isn't really the goal. And what I'm saying is, your original goal will change. You'll
Mhm.
get to almost that place or close to it, and you realize that's not really what I wanted in the first place. And
Mhm.
that's when you have to pivot, and that's when your process is going to change, because that $1,000 a week or $1,000 a month, whatever your goal may be, isn't really important when you realize the impact you can have on people's lives.
Yeah.
That's a side beneficiary uh, goal process, right? I get to make $1,000 a month, but I get to impact 100 people. Well, hey, if I'm impacting 100 people, that's much better from a higher level of thinking than $1,000. Now, are you going to turn $1,000 away? No, because you got to use the money to do stuff,
Yeah.
right? But the thing is that's not your primary thought process.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So,
That actually reminds me of a classic book that I love to read at least like twice a year. is The Science of Getting Rich from Wallace Wattles. And he mentions that's one of the best things that you can do for mankind is to become rich. Now, how do you do that? Well, there's a science to it. There are exact steps that you take in life. There's certain beliefs you need to adopt in life in order to make that happen. But one thing that I drew from was that you are serving others. You are uh, putting yourself in a better position mentally, which then allows you to be able to stop thinking so much about ourselves and start focusing on others. And as we help them reach their goals, we inevitably reach ours. And it will allow you to be able to, you're going to make money in the process.
Yeah,
And then when you do that, now you can show the world, this is how I did it. You can do it too. It's still possible. It's still relevant. It's still possible.
that's great. Well, unfortunately, our time's about up.
Oh,
I know I could hang out with you all day, but um, but just a couple things. How can people find you?
well, folks can find me on my website at valeriewalton.com. And also through my system that my soon to be husband and I are building. It's simplebusinessbuilder.com.
And what will they find at simplebusinessbuilder.com? Give them a little infomercial, if you will.
Yeah. So, oh my goodness. See, this is why I'm so blessed with someone who compliments me. I'm the talker, but he is the techie. So he actually put together this amazing system for business builders when, you're looking for a way to be able to have a lot of the grunt work, a lot of the things that, need to be done, but either you don't have the skill set for, or you don't have the time for. You can simply, hire the team, use this system to build the business for you, build that downline for you, as well as have a means to be able to earn additional, affiliate commissions, and also be able to brand yourself so that whatever it is that you want to offer, even if you decide to change up what your primary offer is going to be, you can do so, and it's all with that system. So really good.
Wow. Wow. That sounds exciting. I want to thank Valerie for being my guest today. I want to thank each of you for turning in. Please like, share, subscribe, download, put in comments, please. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.